Listen, let me tell you something about men. A man doesn't fall in love with the woman who flatters him every second. He falls for the woman who can challenge him. Hurt that ego just a little bit, not by disrespecting him, but by showing him that you are not easily impressed. See, when a man realizes he can't just stroll into your life and claim the throne without earning it, his whole mindset shifts. Suddenly, you become the prize he can't stop chasing. Ladies, men are wired for the chase. If you give him everything too quick, you rob him of the hunt. But when you make him prove himself, when you hold him accountable, when you make him know that you are not a fan but a queen, that man will love you like his life depends on it. Challenge creates value, and that principle doesn't just apply to careers, money, or opportunities. It applies to relationships too. Think about it. Anything in life that comes too easy usually ends up being taken for granted. If you wake up one morning and find a $100 bill on the sidewalk, you'll smile, maybe even feel lucky, but you'll probably spend it quickly without much thought. But if you work long hours, sacrifice sleep, push through struggles, and earn that same $100 through your sweat, it means more to you. That's because effort creates appreciation. Relationships work exactly the same way. When someone has to put in real effort, when there's a challenge that requires consistency and persistence, the value of the prize skyrockets. When a man pursues a woman and she makes it clear that she's not going to just hand over her time, her heart, or her loyalty without him proving himself, it changes the entire dynamic. Suddenly, he's not just after attention, he's after something meaningful. The challenge awakens a part of him that wants to be better, do better, and show that he's worthy. And in that process, he develops a deeper respect for her. He knows she's not just giving away her energy to anybody who smiles her way. She's reserved for someone who has the strength, the discipline, and the sincerity to step up. That realization makes him treasure her presence more. You see, too often people confuse love with ease, as if making everything effortless will somehow guarantee happiness. But love that is handed out cheaply loses its shine. The truth is, when there's no challenge, there's no growth. And when there's no growth, there's no depth. A relationship that doesn't stretch you or demand effort becomes shallow, and shallow things don't last. That's why when someone meets a partner who challenges them, not in a destructive way, but in a way that requires accountability, patience, and real intention, they end up holding that person close. The value of the bond rises with every obstacle overcome. Challenge also builds character. Imagine a man who wants to win over a woman who has standards. He has to show up on time, follow through on his words, and keep his promises. He can't just say the right things. He has to live them out. And every time he rises to meet those standards, he becomes a better version of himself. Without realizing it, the pursuit transforms him. What began as simply wanting to win her over becomes an inner journey of growth. And that's why challenge is so important. It doesn't just filter out the ones who aren't serious. It molds the ones who are into someone greater. The value of challenge also lies in what it reveals. When someone truly wants you, they won't be scared off by difficulty. They'll lean in, they'll adapt, they'll fight through misunderstandings, they'll learn your needs, they'll keep showing up even when things aren't easy. That kind of persistence reveals the truth of their intentions. It separates the ones who just want the idea of you from the ones who truly want you. And once you see that consistency, that willingness to work for the relationship, you can trust it more deeply because it wasn't given lightly, it was earned. At the end of the day, the relationships that last, the ones that are cherished, are the ones where value is built through challenge. When someone has to climb a mountain to reach you, they'll never forget the view once they're by your side. When they had to put in the effort, fight through their own flaws, and prove themselves worthy, they'll hold on tighter because they understand what it took to be there. Challenge doesn't push true love away. It makes it stronger. And when someone realizes the value of what they've earned, that's when love transforms from something ordinary into something extraordinary. Don't be easily impressed, because the moment you give away your admiration too cheaply, you strip yourself of the power that comes with self-worth. People often think showing constant amazement will win affection, but in reality, it usually does the opposite. When everything someone does leaves you wide-eyed and clapping, they begin to lose interest because there's no challenge left. They know they don't have to try. They don't have to push. They don't have to rise above their own limits because no matter what, you'll applaud. But admiration should be earned, not handed out without thought. The beauty of love and respect lies in its exclusivity. When you don't give it to everyone, it becomes precious in the eyes of the one who finally earns it. Being unimpressed doesn't mean being cold, rude, or unkind. It means knowing your worth so clearly that someone has to meet a certain standard before they get access to your deep admiration. Anyone can say sweet words, dress well, or flash charm, but those things alone are not proof of character. Real strength lies in patience, consistency, and authenticity. And that's what should earn your respect. If you accept shallow gestures as enough, you'll invite shallow love into your life. But when you refuse to be dazzled by surface level charm, you send a powerful message. I am not here to be entertained. I am here to be valued. That message shifts the entire relationship dynamic. When someone realizes they cannot win you over with the bare minimum, they begin to step into their fullest self. They start thinking about how to impress you with more than words, with actions, with sacrifice, with effort, with growth. Suddenly, their focus isn't on putting on a show. It's on becoming better. That transformation is powerful, and it doesn't happen if you allow yourself to be swayed too easily. Your ability to hold back admiration until it's deserved becomes the very reason they work harder, love deeper, and respect you more. Think about it in practical terms. If a person gives you a compliment, it feels good. But if that same person compliments everyone else the exact same way, the words lose meaning. But if their praise is rare, intentional, and sincere, you'll treasure it. That's how admiration works too. When you give it sparingly, it increases in value. When you show that your heart isn't won by empty words or temporary effort, the person trying to win you over will take their role more seriously. They'll understand that your admiration is a prize, not a participation ribbon, and that makes it worth striving for. Don't be easily impressed also means protecting yourself from illusions. Charm can fade, looks change, words can deceive, but character, loyalty, and respect reveal themselves slowly over time. When you hold back your admiration until you've seen consistency, you give yourself the gift of clarity. You're not blinded by the initial sparkle. You're watching to see if the shine lasts after the excitement fades. And once someone proves themselves over and over again, your admiration becomes genuine, rooted, and unshakable. That kind of love stands the test of time because it's built on something real. The truth is, being easily impressed attracts the wrong people. It draws in those who want quick validation, not real connection. But when you raise the bar, when you make it clear that your heart isn't available to just anyone who flashes a smile, you attract those who are serious. You attract those who are willing to go beyond the surface, who want to invest, who want to earn not just your attention, but your trust and loyalty. That's the foundation of deep love. When both people understand that what they share wasn't given lightly, but built intentionally. So hold your ground. Smile when someone tries, but don't let every small gesture sweep you off your feet. Save your deepest admiration for the one who shows you with time, effort, and truth that they deserve it. Because when you are not easily impressed, you teach others to bring their best selves forward. And in return, you receive a love that is not shallow or temporary, but lasting and madly devoted. Men are wired for the chase, and that truth has been evident across cultures, generations, and even nature itself. The pursuit is built into the core of masculinity. It's not just about romance. It's about how men approach life. They thrive on goals, missions, and challenges. When something is handed to them too easily, it loses its value almost instantly. Think about how a man reacts when he gets something without effort. He might smile. He might enjoy it briefly, but soon it becomes ordinary. But give him something he has to work for, something that demands effort, consistency, and persistence. And suddenly his heart and mind mind become invested. The chase awakens his drive, his focus, and his passion. In relationships, this principle plays out in powerful ways. When a woman makes herself too available, when she gives away her heart and loyalty without requiring any real effort, the man's instinct to pursue gets short-circuited. He may enjoy the attention, but he won't value it. Not because he is cruel or careless, but because the lack of challenge robs him of his nature to chase. On the other hand, when a woman shows that her love, her time, and her presence are treasures that must be earned, a man steps into his role as a pursuer. He strategizes, he invests, he takes risks, and most importantly, he proves himself through action. The chase isn't about playing games. It's about balance. It's not about withholding love or being manipulative. It's about understanding that real connection is strengthened through effort. When a man has to pursue, he's not just chasing the person, he's chasing the growth within himself. He learns patience. He learns discipline. He learns how to communicate better, how to sacrifice, how to follow through. Every step of the chase shapes him into someone more capable of holding on to the love he's working for. If he never has to chase, he never develops those qualities, and the relationship becomes shallow. Men are problem solvers by instinct. They like to overcome obstacles, fix what's broken, and achieve what seems difficult. The chase gives them that sense of mission. It turns love into something exciting and alive. Without it, relationships can become dull very quickly. A man who has to work for affection, who has to win trust through consistency, becomes deeply attached to the woman he's pursuing. He doesn't just see her as another option. He sees her as the choice, the one worth the effort. And that mindset creates devotion. Think of it like this. If someone gives you a trophy without a competition, it feels meaningless. But if you trained, sacrificed, and fought through obstacles to earn that same trophy, you'd guard it, honor it, and never want to let it go. That's how a man feels when he chases a woman who makes him earn her love. It becomes priceless in his eyes because it required something of him. The struggle makes the reward worth keeping. It's also important to understand that the chase doesn't end once he's won her heart. The healthiest relationships keep that sense of pursuit alive. A man who truly values his partner will keep chasing her long after she says yes, long after the ring, long after the years together. Why? Because he knows that love without effort grows stale, but love that continues to pursue stays alive. When he sees that she continues to challenge him, inspire him, and remind him that she is worth the chase every single day, he never loses that spark. At the core, men are not drawn to what comes easy. They are drawn to what demands their best. The chase activates their deepest instincts. It makes them protect, provide, and commit. It makes them fall in love not just with the woman they are pursuing, but with the process of becoming worthy of her. And that is why men are wired for the chase. Because in chasing, they don't just win love, they win growth, purpose, and a bond that can stand the test of time. Strength over dependence is one of the most powerful principles in love and life, because nothing commands respect more than showing that you can stand on your own 2 feet. Too often, people confuse love with neediness, as if depending on someone for happiness is the same as loving them. But the truth is, dependence without strength leads to imbalance, resentment, and eventually disappointment. Real love grows when 2 people are strong on their own and choose to share that strength with each other. When you don't need someone to survive, but instead desire them to enhance your already whole life, that's when a relationship becomes powerful and lasting. Dependence is easy. Anyone can cling. Anyone can beg. Anyone can rely on another person for validation, money, or emotional security. But strength, that takes courage. Strength means saying, I can pay my own bills, I can manage my own emotions, I can fight my own battles. I don't need you to complete me. I want you because you add to me. That mindset changes the entire dynamic of love. It removes desperation from the equation and replaces it with choice. When someone knows you don't need them to fill a void, they begin to respect your presence more deeply because they realize you are there by will, not by dependence. This doesn't mean closing yourself off or pretending you're untouchable. It means building your foundation so solid that no matter what happens, you don't crumble. A strong partner is attractive because they inspire rather than drain. They don't demand constant saving. They stand as an equal, someone who can be leaned on but doesn't collapse under the weight of life. When you embody strength over dependence, you show that love is not about clinging, but about lifting each other higher. A dependent relationship often turns toxic because one person feels smothered while the other feels powerless. The dependent partner fears being left, fears being alone, and this fear creates pressure that suffocates love. But when you stand strong, you flip the script. You don't operate from fear, you operate from self-respect. And when you respect yourself enough not to rely on someone else for your identity or happiness, you teach others how to treat you. Strength sets boundaries. Strength makes demands, not of control, but of respect, honesty, and consistency. Dependence, on the other hand, often lowers standards just to keep someone around. Think about how a man reacts when he meets a woman who doesn't need him to survive. At first, it challenges him. His ego may feel bruised because he realizes she's not waiting to be rescued, but soon it draws him in deeper. Why? Because she becomes rare. She stands out in a world where many give away their power too easily. Her independence becomes magnetic. He starts to see her not as a responsibility, but as a partner, and that shift is what makes him love harder, deeper, and with more respect. Strength over dependence is also about resilience. Life will throw challenges at you. Financial struggles, health battles, emotional storms. And if you have built yourself on dependence, you'll collapse when the other person isn't there to hold you up. But when you've developed inner strength, you bend but don't break. You adapt, you rise. And in doing so, you become the kind of partner who isn't just loved, but admired. Love mixed with admiration is the kind of love that lasts. At its core, strength over dependence teaches that love is not about finding someone to carry you. It's about finding someone to walk beside you. It's about choosing each other freely every day, not because you need to survive together, but because you thrive together. That's the kind of bond that breeds respect, passion, and loyalty, the kind of bond that isn't built on weakness but on power. And when you choose strength over dependence, you don't just attract love, you inspire it, you command it, and you keep it alive. Boundaries build respect, and without them, love easily loses balance. Many people fear setting boundaries because they think it will push others away, but the truth is the opposite. Boundaries don't create distance, they create clarity. They are not walls meant to shut people out. They are doors with rules, showing how you deserve to be treated when someone comes into your space. Without boundaries, you invite confusion, disrespect, and eventually resentment. With them, you show others that your love is valuable, your time is meaningful, and your presence is not to be taken for granted. Think about it. Anything of worth comes with rules. A museum doesn't let you touch priceless art. A luxury store doesn't let you walk out without paying. Not because they want to be harsh, but because they understand the value of what they're protecting. Why should your heart, your peace, and your soul be any different? Boundaries tell the world, this is my worth, and if you want access to it, you must meet me with respect. And when people see that you uphold your standards, they treat you differently. They rise to meet them or they leave. Either way, you win because you filtered out those who can't handle your value. In relationships, boundaries are essential because love without limits can quickly turn into control, dependency, or even abuse. If you let someone speak to you however they want, eventually they will. If you allow constant lateness, disrespect, or neglect, it becomes the norm. But the moment you draw a line and say, this is not acceptable, you shift the entire relationship dynamic. Suddenly, the other person understands that being with you requires effort, attentiveness, and care. Far from pushing them away, this often deepens their respect because people subconsciously value what is guarded. Boundaries also protect your individuality. In love, it's easy to lose yourself, to merge so deeply into another person's world that you forget your own. But strong boundaries keep you grounded in your identity. They remind both you and your partner that while you are connected, you are not property. You are two whole people choosing to walk together, not two halves clinging out of fear. That independence fuels passion because desire thrives when respect and individuality remain intact. Setting boundaries also separates the serious from the casual. Someone who is only around for convenience will not tolerate boundaries. They'll call you too difficult or too demanding because they were never interested in giving more than the bare minimum. But someone who genuinely values you will accept and even appreciate your boundaries because they understand that those limits are what keep the relationship healthy and safe. Boundaries aren't obstacles for real love. They are guides that shape it. It's also worth noting that boundaries aren't about controlling the other person. They're about controlling yourself. You can't force someone to respect you, but you can choose to walk away when they don't. You can't make someone honor your standards, but you can refuse to lower them just to keep them around. That decision-making power is where true strength lies. When you enforce your boundaries, you don't just protect your heart, you show the other person exactly how much you respect yourself. And self-respect is magnetic. It makes others see you as someone worth cherishing, not someone they can play with. At the core, boundaries create respect because they teach others how to love you properly. They filter out those who only want to take and highlight those who are willing to give. They build a foundation where love is not reckless or careless, but intentional. And in the end, the relationships that thrive are not the ones with no boundaries, but the ones where two people honor each other's limits, respect each other's values, and build trust by protecting, not crossing, those invisible lines. That's how love grows strong. The right woman shapes destiny, and this truth has echoed across history, whispered in stories, proven in real lives, and written in the journeys of men who became more than they ever imagined because of the woman standing beside them. A man may have ambition, talent, and drive, but when the right woman enters his life, she doesn't just cheer from the sidelines, she elevates him. She becomes a mirror that reflects his potential back to him, even when he cannot see it himself. She challenges him, supports him, and pushes him to reach heights he never thought possible. The right woman is not just a companion, she's a catalyst. Men often underestimate the influence of the partner they choose. The wrong one can drain energy, feed insecurity, and derail dreams. But the right one, she brings peace to chaos. She steadies his spirit when doubt creeps in. She whispers encouragement when the world shouts against him. She doesn't just accept his flaws, she pushes him to rise above them. And because of that, his path shifts. He starts moving with more confidence, more focus, more purpose. A man aligned with the right woman walks differently because he knows he has someone in his corner who believes in him without wavering. The right woman also shapes destiny by refusing to settle for less than his best. She doesn't flatter his weaknesses or let his excuses slide. She doesn't let him waste his gifts or shrink himself out of fear. Instead, she calls him higher. Her love isn't just soft, it's strong. She's the one who will look him in the eyes and say, I know you can do better, so don't stop here. That kind of accountability isn't nagging. It's love with vision. And when a man realizes that his partner sees greatness in him, he wants to rise to meet it. He wants to become the man she already believes him to be. Destiny isn't shaped in grand moments alone. It's built in daily choices, habits, and beliefs. The right woman influences these quietly but powerfully. She teaches him patience when he wants to rush, wisdom when he wants to react, and faith when he wants to quit. She steadies his emotions without dimming them, and in doing so, she makes him stronger. A man who once doubted himself learns persistence. A man who once carried fear learns courage. Why? Because she is both his safe place and his motivation to keep moving forward. The right woman also has a way of expanding a man's vision. He may start out chasing success for himself, but once she is in his life, he begins to dream bigger. He no longer wants success just for his own name. He wants it to build a life with her, to provide, to protect, to honor her belief in him. She turns selfish ambition into shared purpose, and that shift is destiny in motion. His goals gain depth because now they aren't just about achievement, they're about legacy. History is full of men whose lives took a greater turn because of the woman they loved. Behind empires, businesses, and great movements, you will often find the steady hand, the wise counsel, and the unshakable faith of the right woman. She doesn't demand the spotlight because she understands her power doesn't come from being seen. It comes from being felt. Her influence is woven into his actions, his choices, his victories. And when people look at him and admire what he has become, they are also seeing her reflection. At the heart of it, destiny is not just about where you go, but about who helps you get there. The right woman doesn't walk behind a man, nor does she drag him from the front. She walks beside him, her presence shaping the way he sees himself and the way he faces the world. And when that kind of partnership exists, love becomes more than romance. It becomes the very force that carves out destiny.